Hey guys, welcome back. It's your favorite girl, Jessie Rogers, here on the Kiwi Show. How we doing, fam? So, on today's episode, we're going to be dealing with a very, very sensitive topic. I won't say it's sensitive like that, but like, you guys have seen what has been trending, and it happened to be with a very, very interesting personality. I mean, I don't know how many of us know the man they call Daddy Freeze. Well, his matter has really been trending on social media of recent. And, I've just been sitting back analyzing this whole situation. I say, in fact, I'm going to talk about it. This is the Kiwi Show. And if you're seeing my face for the first time, I promise you will give you nothing but authentic gist right here on the Kiwi Show. And it's not just about the gist, it's not just about the trends. Sometimes most times actually, we like to reveal or draw people's attention to the other side of the coin. You know, the things you're not seeing, the things that nobody's talking about. That's what we're going to be talking about here on the Kiwi Show. So if you're seeing my face for the first time, how about you click that like button or subscribe? And of course, do not forget to share to your friends. Now, the cocoa, we shall dive in. So who exactly is Daddy Freeze? You know, some of you know him as the man who does YouTube live, right? And always delves into important issues, let me say, matters that are really shaking the country. You know, he brings people on his lives, talk about really sensitive things. And the period where we had that Andrew saga, the guy who was suspected of ORGAN harvesting, right? So he played a major role by bringing a lot of people to his life to talk about people who were affected directly by the situation. He brought them on his live. You know, we got more insights and revelation to that story through his platform. I mean, I must say he's been very, very effective on some things, and that is how people got to know him. Also, I'm going to give you a brief intro of who Daddy Freeze is. So his real name, Ifedayo Olarinde, and he was born in Cluj, Napoca. Okay, so many of you don't know, he's half Romanian, a Romanian mother and Nigerian father. So he spent most of his early years in Ibadan, where he attended the International School Ibadan. He has a degree in sociology from the University of Ibadan and is from Oyan Town, Odo-Otin, Osun State. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Now, Daddy Freeze commenced his radio career in 1996 with the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, Ibadan, where he served as a correspondent on the World Chart Show. He also joined Cool FM in 2001 and worked in the radio presenting and television and general entertainment. He was a senior broadcaster at the Cool FM in Lagos. So Freeze is also an event compere, you know what I'm saying? He has hosted like an MC, okay? He has hosted a number of music concerts, comedy shows, and Nollywood premieres in Nigeria, Ghana, and the United Kingdom. He's leader of the Free Sheeple movement. And in 2017, he started Free Nation Online Church. Yes, that was when he started his church, for some of you that know him as a pastor. So in 2017, he started the Free Nation Online Church and holds Sunday and weekday services. Now, this is the much we know about. Like, this is like a brief introduction to this person. You see, he started off as an on-air personality and is still in that business. So Daddy Freeze, why is his matter so enticing? Should I say enticing? No, that's not the word. Why is it a big deal? I will tell you why. You see, he has set a particular standard for himself. Like I said before, how he does his live, he calls out bad for bad, all right? And he says good is good. He has given people the impression that he likes to call a spade. But then it's starting to raise brows that you are involved in an adultery scandal. Daddy Freeze, you? What's going on here? What's happening? Right, so now we've looked at who Daddy Freeze is. Did you also know that he had a major divorce with his first wife in the year 2014? That divorce was a very messy one, and it kind of like got the attention of the nation. Yes, and there was an interview on Bella Naija with his previous wife, and she came out to say a whole lot of things that we could not believe Daddy Freeze was capable of doing. Yeah, she said he was violent, and you know, he was even having an affair while he was still married to her. He was having an affair with another woman called Benedicta. She revealed that at some point while he was hitting her, he was beating her up. He made a call to the so-called Benedicta, and the Benedicta was also yelling from the phone, sort of like supporting him to like hit her and push her out of the house. She made claims that her son at some point took a bruise, he took an injury for her, all right? She made all of these claims, and he also clapped back at her and accused her of being the reason for, by the time he almost committed suicide. He said the woman almost drove him to suicide. So, after that back and forth that happened between him and his ex-wife, Opeyemi, the marriage came to a close. All right? And 4 months later, he eventually, stepped out with Benedicta. I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't move on with your life after a divorce, okay? That's not what I'm saying. But it's just weird that 4 months after you ended things with your previous wife, 4 months after you found the new love of your life, it's just not adding up. It's not making sense. There definitely was something going on before the breakup. I mean, it's that simple. Even if your wife was horrible, do not deny the fact or do not try to water down. You cannot tell me that you started loving somebody 4 months immediately after your wife. You were already distracted by that person while you were still married to them. Now, that was what led to his first divorce in 2014. Now, who is this Benedicta woman? Who is Benedicta? From what we know, according to sources, Benedicta Elechi, that's her name. She was born on August 1, 1978 in Ilorin, and she had her her early years in Port Harcourt, River State, and she hails from Anambra State. So she took a keen interest in cooking. She's a chef, all right? She's a chef, and she owns Taste Buds. I don't know how many of you know Taste Buds, Real Nigeria Cooking, and Detachi Foods. She owns it. So she studied analytical chemistry at the River State University of Science and Technology. And she also stated that from cooking in the house at the age of 24, she was able to raise enough money and convince her family and friends that she was up to the task. That was when she eventually started her cooking career. So she grew her brand by venturing into baking, catering, and yogurt production. And then she also began to cook for corporate organizations and private firms. Yes. So she relocated to Lagos in the year 2016 after filing for divorce in 2012. Now, guys, in one of her interviews, her interview with Linda Ikeji TV, she stated she had filed for a divorce that dragged for over 10 years. And she was never, the court was never really able to decisively give her that divorce for 10 years. I mean, it's crazy. She was married to Paul Odekina, all right? An HR manager at Total E&P for 10 years. And she had accused Odekina of being gay.
I filed for a divorce from him because of his sexual perversion. And there is a point where you get to as a human being when you realize that something or whatever it is you're in is never going to work. Because when I signed a contract to marry him, I believed I was, marrying a man that shared the same type of sexuality with me. Not to get me wrong, I do not have any issues with people that, have different sexual orientation. I do not have any issue with that. But when you come and you say you want to go into a marriage contract with someone, you both have to share the same sexual orientation. So when you get into that marriage and you find out that this was not what you bargained for, it's like you were tricked into the marriage. The marriage is a sham. It's not what you thought. For example, we got married in 2002. I filed for a divorce in 2012. I filed. For the 10-year period we were married, we actually had sex 11 times. I'm sorry. We actually had sexual intercourse 11 times in 10 years. He wouldn't let me sleep in his room. I have to stay in my own room. He would only come to see me when he thinks we should make a baby. Okay. Way into the marriage, I caught him red-handed in gay sex. I walked into him in our living room in, I think at about 1:30, 1:40 a.m. with a guy I don't really know who he is, but he obviously walked in with that person at that time of the night. And I walked into them in our living room. And I can tell you, It was a struggle.
Before I go any further, I don't know if you guys have noticed recently, most of the topics I've been handling, most of the celebrity scandals that we've been talking about, it's always the gay accusations on the husband. Whenever their marriages fail, there's been too much gay accusations of recent. Is that really a thing? Is that really happening? I mean, I thought most Nigerians were homophobic though, because everybody comes out to blast it. I've not really seen anybody openly coming out to support, the gay movement. But it seems we do have a lot of gays in Nigeria, and it's actually very worrying. Anyways, that aside, so like I said, she accused her husband of being gay, a gay man. This gay, and her major reasons were, initially, she mentioned how the husband was violent, all right? She stated that her husband was domestically violent, and that at the point where they were having their divorce, when they were still processing their divorce, he was responsible for the break that happened in her businesses, and then came into her property, or he barged into her property and vandalized some things and also carted away with some other things. In other words, he had been harassing her violently. Okay, so you would think there's something that can be settled, all right, according to what the interviewer asked her then. But she was like, no, that's not even it though. That's the major reason was because of orientation, like, in the other room, you understand, his preferences when it comes to sex. So when that went down, when she caught him with the male partner in the living room, she said, no, we're not doing this. And she said she could count the number of times she had intercourse with her husband over a marriage, during the time she was married to a man for over 10 good years. Now, according to her, the court delayed the divorce process, and she did not want to be with this person any longer. So it is assumed that while she was still in the marriage, she met Daddy Freeze, or, while they were still waiting for things to be undone, her own marriage, she met Daddy Freeze, and before you know it, the two of them got tangled and moving forward. Now, she eventually got her divorce, all right, and they have been living happily. I'll put it that way. She and Daddy Freeze have been living happily. But the problem now was somebody was not happy. Mr. Paul said, "You think I'll leave you people to be happy?" Lie. So he sued Daddy Freeze to court. Crazy, isn't it? Sued Daddy Freeze to court, and now said that the man was having an affair with his wife while they were still married. Okay, so here's the thing. First and foremost, the thing that is not making sense to me, you guys know how I do it here on this show. So first off, the thing that is not really making sense to me is the fact that you claim that your husband was violent domestically. All right, he was a violent man, but then you move to somebody else that was accused of being violent. It's not adding up. All right, I don't plan on watering down claims of the ex-wife. I don't plan on doing that. But although, in as much as there's truth, everybody has their truths, all right? In as much as there is some level of truth in her own story, we should also consider the level of truths that might be in Daddy Freeze's story as well. Because it's not making sense at all that you will leave your husband that was abusing you physically and move to another man that has the tendency of also abusing you. Otherwise, she wouldn't, because she seems like someone who is open to having an interview about what is happening in her life. Like, she came out to talk about her previous husband. She seems like the kind of person who would definitely come out to say, see you, they want to kill me, if she was experiencing the same thing with Daddy Freeze. I don't know if you get where I'm coming from. So now, that aside, this man that is suing Daddy Freeze to court, do you know what I think? This is just my own personal opinion. I'm just giving personal opinion. I think he's obsessed. Why did I say that? Why did I say he's obsessed? He must have felt that he had the perfect woman that he can keep under his thumb, okay? Because he had power. He felt like she would never, ever get the balls to or free herself, and put it that way, okay? Now, when she eventually filed for a divorce and things got messy, in his mind he must have been like, who does she think she is? I'm going to clip her wings. I'm just painting a picture, all right? Because for this woman to successfully leave, you didn't do any other thing. I don't know why, you just waited and planned, and then all of a sudden, boom, a lawsuit? It's crazy. You guys should think about it. That's how I'm seeing the situation. And did you guys know that they went to a lower court first, right? That if he's lost the case, he carried him to a higher court. He still lost the case. I know that the law has pronounced him guilty of that, which he may be, or may not be. But then the funny story here is, in the case of the court hearings so far, when he was in a court hearing with his wife, the divorce matter stretched for so long. It was almost as if he didn't want this woman to go. Now, this same court, when he's suing her for adultery or suing Daddy Freeze for adultery, the same court, the verdict was too fast. Do they have, please somebody should enlighten me, do they have different types of courts in Nigeria? The ones that handle cases quickly and the ones that stretching cases, for if you want your case to be stretched, go to this court. If you want your case to be quickly attended to, go to that court. Somebody should help me, please. Now, before you start pointing accusing fingers at Daddy Freeze or anybody else that is involved in this case, just remember, you are in Nigeria. And in this beautiful country of mine, anything goes. It's that simple. Now, I'm not trying to support people that committed adultery or me. God forbid. Support adultery. If they really committed adultery, and then it's good that they pay the fine. You get? But I want you guys to see some other things. Until you wear somebody's shoes, you don't really know where it is pinching exactly. No, you don't. I tell you the very truth. It's just crazy, the whole thing that has been, that happened between Paul Odekina and Daddy Freeze. I mean, given the personality that Daddy Freeze has, you will never, ever, ever, ever believe it. Ever. So now look at something. The previous wife of Payemi, accused him of adultery. The previous husband of his current wife, accusing him of adultery. I did not say anything, but... Anyways, guys, I don't know. I don't really know. Like, this whole thing has really been a crazy ride. Okay, now, let's go back to this Mr. Paul Odekina's story. Benedicta accused him of being gay. And this is not the first time we are seeing or hearing about gay matter, like I said before. Okay, what I want to understand is, if you are a gay, why are you marrying? I know you will say, but Nigerians, your parents, society, what would they say? Kiniko. Okay, fine. You want to hide, you want to do undercover, piam. No problem. Do it well now. If you're going to act undercover, do it properly. Give your wife the necessary attention she needs when you're with her. Fulfill your duties since you've decided to play pretend. You have decided to role play husband. Then do it right so that there won't be any suspicions. But he did whatever it was he did with impunity because he felt this woman is nobody, I can trample on her. That is just what I'm seeing from this whole scenario. That's how I feel about it, and that's why I said I think he's obsessed with the woman. Now, going back to Benedicta's story, remember I said something initially about it not making sense that you would leave an abusive man to another abusive man. That's where the story is a little bit is glitching somehow, because this is a vocal woman. We've all seen that Benedicta is a vocal woman. She came up to speak when Paul was messing her up. All right. So if Daddy Freeze is doing the same thing to her, she should. I mean, there's a high chance that she would have, come up to speak by now. But none of that has happened. I don't know if you understand. But that still does not negate the fact that something definitely must have been happening between both parties. I mean, Benedicta and Daddy Freeze at the time of his breakup with his first wife. Because how do you tell me that after 4 months, after your wife leaves the marriage, you have a new lady? I mean, guys, reason it. So, guys, honestly, it's crazy. It's really, really crazy, the kind of things that happen in this my country that me and you are inside. Anyways, in case you are a lady and you find yourself in that situation whereby your husband is cheating with one particular Sisi Eko, know that you can get your own 5 million updates. Please update. Instead of you to sit down and be crying every day, my husband, you can get 5 million naira. This is your chance to get, and see, I'm not advised. Now listen, guys, so the thing is, you have to know that these kind of laws exist and they work in Nigeria. All right, although it might take a lot of funds from your hands, remember what I always say, this is Nigeria. If you know, you know. So make sure you have a lot of funds on your hand if you want to go and sue your husband for cheating. You get same thing for the man. If you want to sue, you can sue your wife for cheating. Yes, and I can assure you make a lot of money from it. Yes. So guys, tell me, I'd really like to know your take on this issue. I mean, it's really been in our faces for the longest times, and everybody's like, Daddy Freeze. Some of his die-hard fans are like, it's not possible. I stand with Daddy Freeze. I know he's a righteous man. He cannot. Yes, whatever. But I mean, the court has given their verdict. What do you guys think? Honestly, I'd like to know you. I'd like to see and know your thoughts in the comment section. I mean, a lot of people have been in this, not even have been, are still currently in this type of situation. You get where you have your husband, probably your first love, and you already have a smooth family with him, and all of a sudden one lady is trying to enter the picture. Don't condone it though, because the law say if you condone it, you cannot sue the person, you understand? But if you don't condone it and you're not happy with what's going on, you don't vex. Swam, who knows? Maybe your own case self, it might be 10 million naira. Nah, macha. So, my dear, tell me what you think in the comment section, and I will be there reading. Thank you so much for joining me once again here on the Kiwi Show. It's been your favorite girl, Jessie Rogers, and until next time, when I will come with the more authentic and interesting gists. It's bye bye for now.